Macron warns of escalation of rhetoric after Biden genocide comment.
Here's a summary of the article.
French President Emmanuel Macron on Wednesday declined to characterize the Russian military's actions in Ukraine as genocide, saying that an escalation of rhetoric is harmful. Macron said Wednesday that his goal is to stop this war and rebuild peace, and not use rhetoric like genocide to escalate tensions with Russia. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has used the term genocide before and praised President Biden as a true world leader for saying the same earlier this week. French President Emmanuel Macron's unwillingness to recognize the genocide of Ukrainians after all the outspoken statements of Russian leadership and criminal actions of Russian military is disappointing, Nikolenko wrote on Facebook. Macron justified his rejection of the term by saying that Ukrainians and Russians are brothers, but Nikolenko argued that brotherly people do not kill children, does not shoot civilians, does not rape women, does not cripple elderly people and does not destroy the houses of another brotherly people. Russian President Vladimir Putin and Macron last spoke on the phone in March did not reach a diplomatic breakthrough. When Macron sat down with Putin face-to-face in February before the invasion, Putin reportedly assured him he would not escalate the Ukraine crisis.
This post received a score of 14,000, with an upvote ratio of 88%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
This guy lashed out in anger at the Polish PM and called him an anti-Semite like last week lol. But yes, let us all be more thoughtful of our language choices.
Biden really hit it on the head. It's not just about killing opposition, it's about destroying what being Ukrainian means. Hard to resist when you don't have an identity anymore. Every single genocidal movement in history does exactly this: conquistadors, the Holocaust, what happened when settlers hit the east coast of North America, when slaves were brought pretty much anywhere, you name it. Oh, but let's worry about the words here because Putin will do something bad if we call it what it is, as if he might suddenly decide that it's silly to wage this war if we're all just very polite and taciturn.
Macron also knows that anti-American sentiment plays well with the French public and he's got an election to win.
Honestly, I think you hit it. He's got an election coming up.
With a close contender on the far right whose base is supporting her calls for a softer stance against Russia. He's trying to win over some of those voters, 100%. Not saying I approve of it, but that's the rationale.
Yeah, this has me really split. His pushback against the genocide label reeks of appeasement, as someone above mentioned. On the other hand, if Macron's pushback makes the difference between him and Le Pen getting elected, it's probably worth it on the balance of things. Le Pen strikes me as someone who will work for Putin within NATO, to basically ensure that Putin can push NATO around all he wants and get away with it.
Le Pen called for a French exit of the EU before Brexit happened and the disaster train struck. It proved that to leave the EU was a self-inflicted wound. She has walked back slightly on her stance, but I still wouldn't trust her far-right stance and her previous cozy relationship with Putin and her praise of it. I also do understand that Macron is not the popular person, but please do not repeat mistakes you have seen in other countries by electing these right-wing candidates.
Today. France 24. Le Pen wants France out of NATO Integrated Command. Backs NATO Russia 13 April 16. 35 She also wants NATO cooperation with Russia.
I think we can all agree that the real problem here is American rhetoric and not Russia's fleet of mobile crematoria it's using to cover up evidence of war crimes or the Ukrainians being abducted by Russia and sent to concentration camps. FFs. Escalate where? Past human rights and kidnapping thousands of children. The West has to catch up.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.